Trucks, built to serve.
Back here with Chris Broussard talking Game 7. All right, we said it yesterday. Clippers were 3-1 in this series, up 3-1 in the series again, and blew it again. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George combining for just 24 points in this one. Man, Clippers pushed all their chips in this offseason. 3 chances to close Denver out. Could not get it done. Here is Paul George after the game.
Fact of the matter is we didn't live up to that expectation. But I think internally we've always felt this is not a championship or bust year for us. We can only get better the longer we stay together and the more we're around each other. The more chemistry for this group, the better. I think that's really the tale of the tape of the season. We just didn't have enough time together.
And we welcome back in Chris Broussard, our Clippers super fan. Chris Broussard. I'm going to let you marinate in all the joyous hoopla from these two guys before I ask how surprised you were. Give it to him, guys. Go ahead. He's ready to receive it.
How does it work? Young analyst, veteran, savvy analyst. Why I don't have a vote? What do you do? Oh my God!
Out of your system.
Let me say this.
Go ahead, Broussard. Go ahead.
I am going to start off by saying something I have never come close to uttering in the 2.5, 3 years, whatever it is that I've been on this show. Nick was right. I never thought I'd say that on this show, but Nick was right. I got to give him his props. And Brandon, too, for picking Denver, saying they were the better team. I still don't totally agree with that, but clearly they look like it right now. So congratulations to you guys. I'll give you that. All right. I'm surprised. Obviously, I'm shocked. Okay. I thought that the Clippers were the best team in the league, not just the best team in this series, the best team in the league. I thought they had 3 closers, and yesterday those 3 closers combined for 31 points on 26% shooting. I thought they had tough defense, and they obviously had no answers for Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. I thought they had dogs, grit, grind, tenacity, all of that, and they got out-rebounded by a ton. They got beat to seemingly every 50-50 ball. They got out-hustled. And that is the crux of the matter. They lost their identity. Last year, they were the little engine that could. They out-hustled everybody. They were hard-nosed and all that. You drop in 2 stars, and you think, okay, everybody's just going to fit around them. And instead, because the stars weren't there a lot, whether it was missing practices, missing games, and instead, they had no identity. If there was any identity, honestly, it was that they were prima donna. And that is what cost them this series and a legitimate chance to win the championship. As Marcus Morris said a few days ago, they looked at how good they were on paper. They relaxed in that regard. And obviously, by the time they really had to wake up, it was too late, and they're going home.
So all that's obviously correct. Here's a simpler way of saying it. They were a bunch of fraudulent front runners all year. When things were easy, they looked like the best team in basketball. Folks would always, whenever the Clippers went on one of those, they locked down someone on defense for 6 minutes, and Paul George is hitting his patented push-off step-back 3, and Kawhi Leonard is hitting his emotionless 18-footer after emotionless 14-footer. My Twitter mentions just full up, Nick, you scared? Nick, you ready to admit they're the best team in basketball? And the answer all along was no, because you've got to do that, not just for 48 minutes, but for 7 games. And they couldn't be bothered to try. They had this. You don't want to know when I was nervous? I will admit. Down 15 in Game 5 after the Clippers had dominated the series in Games 1 and 4. Games 2 and 3 were pretty damn even. And then they folded. Up 17 were the Clippers late in the midway through the 3rd quarter of Game 6. And the Nuggets punched back once, and the Clippers folded. Last night, up 7, biggest game of the year by a country mile. The Nuggets go on a quick little 8-0 run, and the Clippers folded. Doc wears this. Way Off P wears this forever because it's long in a line. And Kawhi, listen, folks, we have seen in the last 20 years 3 championship caliber teams blow 3-1 leads. And the superstars for all of those have worn it. But the other 2 lost Wilds to other championship caliber teams. The KD and the Thunder blew a 3-1 lead. But at least they did it to the Warriors, who had won a title. The Warriors and Steph blew a 3-1 lead. But at least they did it to the greatest player of all time. These guys blew a 3-1 lead with big leads in the second half of all 3 of the closeout games to a team with 0 combined finals appearances. Paul Millsap's the only dude in the rotation who's even been to a conference finals. Nikola Jokic came on that court playing basketball like he's wearing flip-flops, standing on hot coals, and made Kawhi Leonard look like a second-tier player. That happened. Kawhi disappeared in the fourth quarter of all of these games but one. That happened. Paul George's shot almost blinded one of the small children watching from afar. That happened. Doc Rivers out here saying motivational speeches are for the birds. Well, I don't know who you're going to motivate. Maybe someone on the golf course because you got some extra time this fall. All that happened, Wilds. And
Nick, you know
this
what else
is something
happened?
Yeah, tell me, Brandon. Tell me.
You're just gonna let Chris off the hook for trying to hedge his bet? How he tried to change his picks? Or are you just gonna let him off?
I didn't hedge my bet. I didn't hedge my bet.
Brandon,
I was just being honest.
Wilds, go.
I had him winning last night.
Look, Jamal Murray after the game was like, no one believed in us. Shaq didn't believe in us.
Yeah.
Zach Lowe got a drive-by shot from poor Jamal Murray. But it got worse. Look at this list of people that picked the Clippers. Draymond, KD, Jamal, Crawford, Matt Barnes, Jalen Wilbon, T-Mac, and Paul Pierce. But there was one person on this panel, Jenna, just one, that had the courage, the bravery, the tenacity, and the integrity to utter 4 little words. I'm off the Clippers. And that's why Chris Broussard called this. He saw this from a mile away. He called it. Congratulations, Broussard. I knew the Clippers didn't have it when you called it yesterday, so bravo. Big win for you today.
I'm glad you of all the people on this panel recognized it, Wilds. I had the guts to come out and say it. But look, let me say this, because obviously Nick is taking major shots at Kawhi, and that's fair, because Kawhi just didn't deliver. Here's what I'll say, though, and this goes into what Paul George said as far as, this is not it, okay? It wasn't championship or bust. Of course, they wanted to win the championship. They thought they could win the championship. But this team is together. They're going to lose Montrezl Harrell, perhaps, and Marcus Morris. But they'll be back. They'll be humbled. They'll be motivated. I doubt you'll see as much load management, and they will be the better team for it. But here's what I say. Kawhi Leonard, he faded. Hold on, Kawhi faded, right? We've seen, who's had moments like this? Magic Johnson, tragic in 1984. Isaiah Thomas, throwing the pass away to Larry Bird in 1987. LeBron James against Dallas in 2011. Larry Bird in his first finals, 8 points, 12 points in 3 games.
Those are the finals. That's in the finals.
But it's still.
They don't have it in the second round, bro.
Hold on, no. Kawhi Leonard did not.
This is why, Chris.
Guys did. He can bounce back. He can learn from it and bounce back. That's all I'm saying.
Chris, I see why you've been on TV so long. You just use your journalism degree to flip this whole narrative and flip the whole story. Come on, man. What Paul George said in his press conference after game was ridiculous. That is not the mindset you want from your superstar player. A guy that left one team and went to another team.